Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and today we're starting Loom, the EGA version. I just played the Steam CD-ROM talkie version. It didn't feel like it added anything with the talking, and frankly, it seems like it took away a lot for the many different versions. So now I'm going to run the EGA version, the original version of the three versions. There was one released, the EGA version was released in 1990, then the FM Towns version was released in 1991, and it had a few changes and went from 16 colors to 256 colors, and then the CD-ROM Steam version that's still available for sale came out in 1992. And since we've just played the game, it should be the best opportunity for me to compare the two. The only I'm doing different from the default settings is graphics mode will be in high quality 3 times to improve and smooth out the pixels, and that's all we really need to do to know. So let's start. So I have to play in expert mode again, or I won't be able to see a specific scene. Otherwise, I would just play in practice mode or standard mode. But it doesn't really matter because I'm going to be cheating throughout this whole game anyways. Now, it will be a different experience, certainly. I really didn't like the way the story ended for Loom. It certainly felt like it was deciding to set up for a sequel more than to finish its first story. And that's not a good thing. It is the dawn of your 17th year. I'm sitting by the elders to summon you. The High Council awaits your presence in the sanctuary. A messenger nymph. Never seen one so bright before. One of the elders must have woven it. So that's where it's implied that there is a spell for summoning and making a messenger nymph, and we never see it. Last leaf of the year. So I think we're gonna try to sit back a little bit more and listen to the music. In the CD-ROM talkie version, this music didn't play at all. You were often in silence, which, I mean, they basically ripped out the entire score of the game, except for in a few small points. I'm not going to go into the wrong places. I'm not going to deal with any of that. Oddly, I guess there was a spell that I never learned over on the right with the dripping sound. Or maybe that was the die spell and I just didn't get it. So we're just walking directly to the to the palace to see the difference in the animation at 16 colors and the difference in the dialogue. So I do want to click on things like the tapestry. This is the section of the long tapestry. The thirds describe the creation of the world and the passages of the two shadows. So twice before this has happened, so they could have 2 prequels to this game if they wanted. And that's all it said. Interesting. Here's another section of the long tapestry. How is it one tapestry? The pattern shows the rise of the guilds and the story of the weaver's founding. Is the tapestry like going through a hole in the back of the wall and then connecting to the next part? Because as soon as you finish something, it's no longer one tapestry. Or maybe there's like one thread that continues it. But then what if that thread got cut? This is the last section of the long tapestry. Again, it's torn. It illustrates the decline of the guilds and the gathering of the third shadow. A third shadow. And you can see when it zooms in that there's some patterns in it that simply aren't being shown on this EGA graphics. EGA graphics are pretty bad. I recently saw somebody actually implement a filter in Unreal Engine to do not EGA graphics, I think CGA graphics, which are, if I recall right, it's just slightly better than EGA. Maybe even worse. It's hard to remember which ones were in it. Looks like the elders are talking when I interrupt. You've heard the findings of the High Council, Dame Hetchel. What have you to say in your defense? I have no defense or excuses, Elder Atropos. My actions speak for themselves. Remember, there's only 16 colors on the screen right now, so when you see the loom, it's odd. That's the max, probably. Why do you disobey us? You've always upheld the rules of membership to the letter. That line wasn't in the previous version. Tell us what is in your heart. The boy must be told the truth about his birth, Elder Clothis. And see, now we're getting the up-close views of people. Soon he'll wield the power of weaving, whether we choose to guide him or not. I hope you're reading some of these because I'm missing some. We dare not desert Bobbin now. They didn't mention his name in the other version until the very end. Which, honestly, that might have been alright, but whatever. His training was forbidden by the council. Enough, Jesus. We need not explain our decisions. It grieves me to see the many years of faithful service end in this disgrace. But the wisdom of the elders may not be questioned. That is the final rule of membership. So much more dialogue here. Another one of your students, Lady Signia, learned the terrible price of defiance in this very chamber 17 years ago. Better that you had heeded that lesson. So it's talking about his mom. That whole line of dialogue was gone. Our hands are empty, Hetchel. Another missing line of dialogue. Gaze once more into the great loom if you would know your destiny. For behold, that destiny is upon you. Swan's egg, curious destiny. This draft has never failed us before. Hark. I heard a cry outside. That's a new couple lines. So, I don't think that draft that was just played ever gets... we were ever allowed to play it. Or maybe that is something we do use. Who dares desecrate the loom of the weavers? This is the work of the demon boy. Kill it while you still can. Cursed forever is the name of Signa's son, the loom child, Bobbin Threadbare. And so I assume all these swans transcend. I assume that's the idea. That they open the tear to the other side and fly away. And see, there's animation here that wasn't in the previous version. There's tons of dialogue that was missing. Oh, wonderful. Everyone's flown away. No explanations, no goodbyes. All of this is new dialogue. Why do they always leave me behind? Feels heavier than it looks. That's a new line of dialogue. And I can only... I suppose I ought to point it at something first. I think I can only do the main things. So the egg is going to teach me open, which is, let's see, E, C. No, that's not right. Let's wait till he puts his arm down. E, C, E, D. See, if you were going to make a modern game like this, you would use open all the time and have it memorized. Thank goodness you're still here. Mother Hetchel, is that you? She's not a white swan, she's a black duck. I know perfectly, you know perfectly well it's me. I saw you watching us. What's been happening here, Hetchel? The whole village has flown away. I hoped the swan might come to save you. But I never expected her to weave as much mischief as this. Save me? From what? From the elders. They were going to turn you into a swan, as they tried to do to me. So much dialogue. Look at this duck. That's a nice animation we missed. Look as if the signet was the best thing they could manage with these old bones. Why did elders want to get rid of me? I haven't broken any rules. Capital R. They fear you, Bobbin. But why should anyone be afraid of me? Ever since you came into our world, the elders have watched chaos spread across the pattern in the loom. They hoped that your birth was the cause of this chaos, and that order might be returned if you were banished. But now the elders are banished, and you are still here. This can mean only one thing. The pattern is failing of its own accord. Soon it will come to an end, and with it all that is hemmed into its threads. A third shadow is nigh. Is there any way to stop it? Stop chaos? The elders thought they could. Now they know better. So should you. So they're telling you at the beginning of the game, don't even bother trying to win. Or defeat chaos. We can embrace it or escape it. It seems almost like at the end of the game you would be able to embrace it. The swan has rescued the rest of the guild from the coming time. The way before us is now clear. We must find it where the flock has flown and join them if we can. That's a ton of dialogue, and I feel like it's really unfair. I'm reading more dialogue than the voice actors did. You already found the elders' distaff. Good. Never let it slip. Never let it out of your grasp. You won't be able to weave very much at first, I expect, but as you gain practice, more and more of its power will reveal itself to you. As long as the distaff remains in your hands, I'll know you are safe. If you ever lose it, take heart. I'll come and help you if I can. And that does happen in this story. Leave the island, Loom Child. It's too small for you now. Man, you can tell so much of a much better story when you're not limited on text. Your destiny lies beyond the sea. Mother Hetchel, where are you going? To follow the swans. Wish I knew why everyone keeps calling me Loom Child. Never gets explained. At least in the other version of the game. Maybe it will get explained here. So, trying to just mad rush here. There's only really a couple of things that I would like to pick up and use. There's like one thing in particular I'd like to try to do, if I can, that I didn't do. Otherwise, I think there's also a potential here where couldn't I just fast finish this right now? Couldn't I just open up the sky and leave the island without learning anything else? If that's true, then how would I know the patterns for any of the other sections? Like, yeah, unless there's specific barriers, I should be able to open the sky right now, which should be E. No, that's not right. E, C, E, D. Seems very strange. Very, very strange that you could potentially leave the island and not have learned the dye spell, which you need, and the straw to gold and back, which you need. Is it over now? What's interesting is the open command to the sky just causes lightning. It didn't cause the woven pattern of the universe to open up. But the close command does tell the woven pattern of the universe to close. So a little bit more thinking would have been helpful. Now, every time you play Loom, there's one of 3 potential spells, so you could play this infinitely and always have a different game in the slightest amount. Well, different things. Boy, is this black at 16 colors. Just completely pitch black. Owls and trees. We go to the thorn, and it knocks a bunny out. I didn't even see the bunny behind there. Poor little feller. Let's look at this. Is it saying anything? No, it's not reading anything out. It's just saying Destiny shall draw lightning. There, right there. Alright. The day the sky is opened. Now, oddly, the game is quiet again. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting it to go quiet in the original version like it did in the CD-ROM version. Let's see. We've got to hit them all. It sounds like BCCA, or that's got to be DCCA. Let's try this. So I think I've got that, but I'm not certain. Then we gotta work our way this way. And like the special edition remaster of the Secret of Monkey Island, I feel like you could easily have the original game run just underlining a remastered version if you were going to just remaster it. But I think you're better off just remaking the whole thing. So let's try this. B. Okay, so it's C, DDC. And then we've got to get the Straw the Gold spell. The old wheel is pretty squeaky. Dun 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 dun. No, that's not it. Let's see. That worked, but it didn't work on the spinning wheel. So try this again. The third. I just did it. I think I'm on the right track though. So it's giving me a little bit more hints. There we go. And that turns it back to straw. And so we now know that things work both ways. And see, it feels like you'd be able to go in here. We've got all kinds of green. Let's grab the pattern book. Let's see. This is the book of patterns that Hatchel lets me read sometimes. Better take it with me. Interesting. He didn't take it with him in the other game. Which is strange because there's really like no way, as far as I know, to bring it up. Let's listen to this. Wait a minute, maybe that's the drain sound that we heard. Yeah, that might be where we learned the drain spells, by this, right? And we don't use the drain spell for a long time. So it's... See, so you can't do the spell, interesting, but you learn it so early. I think I've got this. Let's see. Got it. So because I just leveled up here, maybe I can do the spell now. Let's listen to it again. The third is too high for me. Guess I need more experience. So still not the right, not high enough to do what we need to do. for that. So you just would have had to learn that spell. And let's see. Is there a real reason to even open the clam and feed the bird? Like, And see, it's just repeating the open command. And so in nature, you're hearing the open command again. Close tight as a clam. And that opens the clam so that the seagull is happy. Yuck. And see, I don't even think there's anything more that needs to be done. So we've learned everything and we can just skip. If there's anything on Loom Island for this first part, I don't know what it is. It does, however, feel like the audio is cued to play and then it kind of stops and gives you a little bit of silence. Generally in video games, that's what I'd prefer, is that it play for a while and then it fade out after about 4 to 6 minutes of music playing, and then give you about 3 to 4 minutes of silence and then fade back in. Very gradual, so it's not really noticeable. But for a game that's music based, I expect the music to play all the time. I don't want to go any closer, he says. So we gotta find a twist. Alright, so so this is the wrong way. It's twisting hard enough already. Must be some way to untwist it. So they put this barrier specifically here so that you have to figure out how to do songs backwards. I guess maybe I could have dyed the water spout green. Boy, this looks different. And we're ready to go. And there's no going back. And I guess you didn't have to go to the forest the first time you played. You could have come over here, and boy does that look different. So we really didn't have much interaction with these people the first time playing through the talkie CD-ROM game. Boy, are the lines thinner and the colors less varied. This is the difference you can do between 16 colors and 256. Greetings, stranger. Welcome to Crystal Guard. I am Master Goldmold, 31st in the Noble Guild of Glassmakers. So there's many guilds. Who do I have the honor of meeting? My name is Bobbin, Bobbin Threadbare, of the Noble Guild of the Weavers. Guild of the Weavers, I don't remember having a weaver visit us before. I see now why your fabrics are so prized. Your cloak you wear is unlike anything I have ever beheld. Remarkable workmanship. That's all new lines of dialogue. Crystal Guards of Wisdom includes many legends concerning your guild. One is particularly strange and amusing. They say it is death to peer beneath the hood of a weaver. Nice little hint. Can this be true? Don't know. Nobody's ever tried it on me. Ha, an unclear reply if I ever heard one. That's a new line. We value clarity here above all else. But fear not, your legend is safe with us. Imagine my relief. By the way, did you happen to notice a flock of swans passing this way? Swans? I heard nothing of swan sightings. So remember, when we saw these conversations before, Bobbin Threadbare would just wave his hands around like he was talking. And all of this was simply cut out, the close-ups, because of the fact that that they couldn't get the lips to sync with the audio, which seems so ridiculous. You could have just had what you have here, where the lips aren't moving. So he offered to sell him a bunch of binoculars to look for the swans. Look around as much as you want, Weaver Threadbare. But remember, you break it, you buy it. So, a lot of lines of dialogue here quickly ran through. And in that's been 30 minutes. And I don't suspect we're going to slow down very much. We're just probably going to run right through this. Maybe I'll have a little bit of struggle once we start hitting the more difficult to remember puzzles, but well, drafts, not really puzzles. There really are no puzzles in the game. Interesting, other than figuring out what spell to use. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.